Assalamu alaikum, everyone. A very warm welcome to this online session on online learning. We'll be waiting for you in the next 1 minute. Please come in, get settled, get your cup of coffee or tea, and we'll be starting very soon. It is tea time, 5 p.m., at least in Lahore.
Coffee.
Coffee time, yeah. It's your morning, so I think it's a good way to begin. Okay, we'll just take 20 more seconds. We'll be looking at excellent numbers. And the counter is not incremental, but exponential, so that's a very good sign. Okay, excellent. Once again, everyone, Assalamu alaikum. A very warm welcome to this online panel on online learning. I'm Suleman Shahid, and I work as an assistant professor in computer science. I'm also the director for the LUMS Learning Institute. The purpose of this panel is to present to you at a very high level LUMS policy and preparation for addressing the students' needs in the online learning environment. We also plan to answer some of your crucial questions raised by you in one of the surveys we just ran. And we'll also be talking about the overall operations and impact of online learning in the next semester. Let me briefly talk about the structure of this panel. We'll be discussing some of the key questions on a very relevant topics about what online learning is, issues about connectivity, resources, online assessment, experiential learning, labs, your curricular, extracurricular participation, and also more importantly, how this whole online experience would look like for you and how LUMS has in general curated this experience for you in these online settings. We'll then open up for online question answers. And after that, we have asked our esteemed panelists to share some advices for navigating in this online semester. I'm very delighted to have with me Dr. Arshad Ahmed, the Vice Chancellor LUMS. Dr. Arshad has 35 years of experience in education, learning, pedagogy, and before coming to LUMS, he was in Canada, a Vice Provost and also Director for the Teaching and Learning Center. And he has been the architect behind this whole online learning and the way LUMS is trying to respond to the needs and the requirements of this online learning space. With me, we also have Dr. Faisal Bari, a big name in education and learning in Pakistan, who's been working with LUMS from last 20 plus years, maybe 30 years. He'll tell 30 years, maybe Dr. Bryce. Yeah, and also working with government, and he's been a part of the many policies designed by the government for learning and teaching in Pakistani context, especially through K to 12. We also have Dr. Faryad Ahmed, who is assistant professor in physics from School of Science and Engineering, and is also the chair for the physics department. We also have Sarah Parvez. She's a teaching fellow at SDSP, School of Business, and she's been instrumental in shaping the way we're doing online learning and online teaching at LUMS. And I'll be hosting this panel. Thank you very much, everyone, for your presence, and I'd also like to thank you all for your participation. I will also advise you to listen to us in the first 30-35 minutes. We have designed all these questions based on your feedback, based on your interest, and we have listened to your advices, and we have all the questions are prepared based on that. Once we are done in the first 40 minutes, we'll come back to you and we'll be taking questions also from you. But feel free, if there's a burning question you'd like us to answer, please put that in chat and QA window. And our team members would be gathering questions from there, and they'll be sending these questions to us, and we'll be answering these questions here and there wherever we feel appropriate. I'll begin with you, Dr. Arshad, and with a very simple question, and that is what is online learning at LUMS, and what LUMS is doing to make students at ease in this online semester, which is really a very different semester and something they had not expected when they applied at LUMS.
Of course, yes. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and thank you so much, Dr. Suleman. आपने तो You've made us much younger. Actually, you've taken 10 years off the experience. So that's very good. You make us all look good. This is excellent, excellent. Feel young, feel good. And बहुत खुशी हुई कि all of you are taking some time out to join us on this important orientation. बहुत शुक्रिया आपका, and thank you. And I hope this is going to be a very exciting panel, and we can address some of your needs. So सवाल तो बहुत अच्छा सवाल है, इसलिए देखें पूरी दुनिया में ऑनलाइन लर्निंग तो काफी आम है, ये कोई नई चीज नहीं है. तो 2 decades, universities have embraced online learning, but of course in Pakistan it has been quite new. Yet, having said that, some universities have been preparing, getting ready, anticipating that this is a world students live in, and this is a world we must embrace. So LUMS has been doing that as well. Now, what have we done to prepare? So first of all, as our fearless leader here, Dr. Suleman, has, not only as a director, but someone on the front lines, worked with a lot of faculty, brought them together, but also staff and students. Students have been a big part of the Learning Institute. And this Learning Institute was set up to do at least 2 things. एक तो बड़ी बात ये है कि prepare, support, and work with faculty to develop as better teachers, more effective teachers. तो ये पहली बात है. दूसरी बात ये है कि प्लेटफॉर्म की ज़रूरत होती है ऑनलाइन लर्निंग में when you start scaling up courses. You can't do it just with the learning management system, although we have one and we've improved it. That's a big part of the architecture, but also something called LUMS X, and this will allow us to reach more students, more learners, not only in Lahore, but also in all regions of Pakistan and beyond. So this business of producing these, what we call asynchronous material, that means that you can learn anytime, anywhere. We have also created a studio. And again, this broadcast is coming out of that studio where a lot of faculty go and prepare these asynchronous material. So we have built the studio, we have launched courses, we have learned a lot in the last semester where we were forced to go online. Everybody was forced to go online, कोई choice ही नहीं थी इसमें. तो उसके अलावा हमारा goal क्या है? What is our real goal? I think the real goal, if we think about it, step back a little bit, is to engage you, so you have a rich learning experience, so there is more flexibility in your programs. And the bottom line is that you can interact and learning becomes more personalized for you. It becomes something that, you look forward to, that you don't have to sit necessarily in a corner somewhere and क्या कहते हैं, observe as a spectator what is going on by the teacher, because the role of the teacher changes. And this is one of the essential differences between offline learning and online learning. So आप ये याद रखें कि देखें, you are the pioneers who are the first cohort. You are the folks who are going to set new standards with us. And just as we started out by saying, learning is a partnership, the Learning Institute is a partnership with students, and therefore your role is going to be just as important as ours, where you embrace these standards because, the learning has been thought through with you in mind. So we put learning first and we put students first, and inshallah with the online learning, this really is our goal.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Arshad, and starting on a very positive note and talking about a very important point, and that is that students are not going to participate as spectators, but they're going to be equal partners and contributors to this learning. And this will give you a very good chance to be a partner in the course and not sit an idle student, but really respond back and be a co-learner. With this, I'll move to Dr. Faisal Bari, who is also the interim dean of School of Education. And School of Education is not only thinking about changing educational landscape at LUMS, but also all over Pakistan. And Dr. Bari, I'll come to you with the toughest possible question, and that is that we're living in Pakistan, and we have our own issues. So first of all, and the biggest issue is connectivity issue. there will be a seam, student would have internet issues, they cannot be connected, they come from remote areas, and we all understand that. Second thing is that students have resources and they have resource constraints, they sometimes are unable to buy books, sometimes they don't have laptops, they'll feel some solid, issues in this online space. What LUMS has done, what LUMS would do, and what LUMS is planning to do in the future for entertaining this very particular scenario.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much, Suleman. लेकिन दो तीन चीज़ें बड़ी क्लियर होनी चाहिए. एक तो ये है कि कुछ इलाके हैं जहाँ पे इंटरनेट ही नहीं है, वहाँ पे तो ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं हो सकता, और उसके लिए LUMS ने बड़ी केयरफुली we have worked on this and we'll be inviting people जिनके पास जहाँ इंटरनेट है ही नहीं कि वो LUMS में आ जाएं इस सेमेस्टर के लिए भी, और they'll be on campus, लेकिन क्लासेस उनकी यहाँ ऑनलाइन होंगी. दूसरे वो लोग थे जिनके यहाँ इंटरनेट शायद हो लेकिन उनके पास कोई डिवाइस वगैरह नहीं थी जिस पे इंटरनेट पहुँच सके. So वो स्प्रिंग में भी LUMS had shipped out a fairly large number of devices to people wherever it was possible to get them a device so that they could get internet. These are Wi-Fi devices which would allow them to get some internet. That Wi-Fi जो वायर से नहीं होता, इस डिवाइस के जरिए is a bit slower than the wire one, लेकिन nonetheless it allows you to participate quite well in asynchronous, if not in synchronous at least. मैं उस पर भी अभी आता हूँ. So एक तो वो है. बहुत सारी जगह हमने ये भी किया कि वो जो हार्डवेयर डिवाइसेस थी वो भी हमने कोशिश की कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को मिल जाएं, जिसमें टैबलेट्स भी थे और भी चीज़ें थी, लैपटॉप भी थे, जहाँ जहाँ मुमकिन हुआ वो चीज़ हम LUMS करता रहा है. सो उस लिहाज से इन अ वे जो कनेक्टिविटी का इशू ज़्यादा है वो है स्टेबिलिटी का, रादर देन एक्सेस का, क्योंकि एक्सेस या इस तरीके से कि वो LUMS आ जाएंगे या डिवाइस मिल जाएगी या उनके पास है, उस तरीके से वो काफ़ी हद तक रिजॉल्व हो गया या हो जाएगा, जिनका इशू अभी भी है नए स्पेशली आने वालों में, लेकिन रहेगा वो एक स्टेबिलिटी का इशू रहता है जो कि कई जगह पे शहरों में भी है, बहुत सारी उसमें है. तो स्टेबिलिटी को एड्रेस करने के लिए हमने वो पेडागोजी की साइड से एड्रेस कर रहे हैं, जिसकी अभी बहुत ज़्यादा बात भी होगी कि उसमें एसिंक्रोनस और सिंक्रोनस करेंगे, उसमें रिकॉर्डेड चीज़ें भी होंगी ताकि आप वो अगर सिंक्रोनस में नहीं भी आ सकते, लाइव क्लास में नहीं भी, जिस तरह इस वक्त हम बात कर रहे हैं, नहीं भी कर सकते, तो आप अपनी लर्निंग जो है वो एसिंक्रोनस ऑफ टाइम में भी कर सकें, और उसमें टाइम का उस तरह की बंदिश ना हो कि भाई अगर अभी ना सीपी गया, अभी ना पार्टिसिपेशन गई, अभी ना आपका फीडबैक गया, तो आपको कोई उससे कदगन होगा या आपको कोई नेगेटिव मार्क मिलेगा या आप पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर सकेंगे या लर्न नहीं कर सकेंगे. वो एस्पेक्ट बड़ी केयरफुली, अभी उस पर ज़्यादा बात भी करेंगे ज़्यादा डिटेल में, वो देखा जा रहा है. वो असेसमेंट्स में भी है, क्लास पार्ट, वो लर्निंग में भी है, सब कुछ है कि उसको कैसे हमने मिक्स करना है. और यही हमने स्प्रिंग से समर और उसके बाद लर्न भी किया कि उस साइड को हमने कैसे मैनेज करना है ताकि स्टूडेंट्स पे किसी एंजाइटी है, बहुत प्रेशर भी फील करेंगे स्टूडेंट, लेकिन जब वो टर्म में आएंगे तो देखेंगे कि वो मैनेजेबल है और वो चीज़ उस लिहाज से इंशाल्लाह आउट ऑफ बाउंड्स वगैरह नहीं होगी. सो एक तो ये इंटरनेट की साइड है. सुलेमान, मैं 1 मिनट 2 और लूँगा. एक बात मैं और कर दूँ कि एक बहुत बड़ा जो इशू है वो होम इन्वायरमेंट्स का है, वो भी इसी से लिंक्ड है कि भाई लोगों के घर मुख्तलिफ हैं, उनके घरों के स्ट्रक्चर्स मुख्तलिफ हैं, कितने लोग हैं वहाँ, कमरा है या नहीं बैठने का, कोई खामोश जगह है या नहीं, लोग बाकी बच्चे वहाँ पे और सिबलिंग्स हैं, आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ हैं या आपके बच्चे हैं इन केस ऑफ ग्रेजुएट स्टूडेंट्स, या बड़े हैं जिनका आपको ख्याल करना पड़ता है, घर के काम है. उस चीज़ को जाहिर है जब वो फिज़िकली यहाँ होते हैं यूनिवर्सिटी में तो वो और तरीके से मैनेज होता है, वो फिज़िकल स्पेस में आए होते हैं, टाइम में आए होते हैं, वो चीज़ मैनेज हो जाती है. लेकिन जो चीज़ें वो जो घर पे ये चीज़ें होंगी कि भाई अगर आपके 4 सिबलिंग्स हैं, उन्होंने भी पढ़ना है, आपने भी, और एक या 2 कमरे हैं, उसको कैसे मैनेज करना है, उसको किसी हद तक, काफ़ी हद तक स्टूडेंट्स को खुद मैनेज करना पड़ेगा. वो होम इन्वायरमेंट में I'll come back to that कि managing that issue उसके लिए आपको अपने घर वालों से भी बात करनी पड़ेगी, कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड पीरियड्स ऑफ टाइम भी निकालने पड़ेंगे जिस वक्त आप काम कर सकें, चाहे वो क्लास हो, चाहे वो आप वैसे लिखने पढ़ने का काम कर रहे हो। वो चंक्स ऑफ टाइम तो हमेशा चाहिए होंगे जिसमें आप कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड काम कर सकें। वो आप दिन को निकालते हैं, रात को वो किस वक्त निकालते हैं, कितने बड़े या छोटे चंक्स में निकालते हैं, वो चीज़ें आपको अपने घर वालों से किसी हद तक निगोशिएट करनी पड़ेंगी, बात करनी पड़ेगी बाकियों से, एंड मैनेज थोड़ा करना पड़ेगा। जाहिर है हमारी तरफ से पूरी कोशिश होगी कि वो टैक्सिंग ना हो, लेकिन नॉनदलेस क्लासेस तो होंगी, पढ़ाई भी करनी है, काम भी करना है, उसके लिए टाइम तो चाहिए ना। जितना टाइम आप यहाँ देते थे ना, उतना टाइम या उससे कम या ज़्यादा वो चीज़ आपको वहाँ भी लगानी पड़ेगी। बुक्स वाली बात पे मैं अब आखिर में आऊँ। ये इशू आता है कि जी ऑनलाइन में किताबों का क्या बनेगा, कि हम कैसे खरीदेंगे या उस तक रसाई। देखें अब यहाँ वेरिएशन बहुत ज़्यादा है। यहाँ लीगल इश्यूज भी कुछ हैं कि हम पूरी किताब बगैर इजाज़त के, जाहिर है जैसे हम वो फोटो कॉपिंग में मसले हैं, वैसे यहाँ ऑनलाइन भी वही कॉपीराइट्स के मसाइल हैं। हम आपको पूरी किताब वगैरह वैसे ही तो नहीं भेज सकते हैं बगैर इजाज़त। उसके लिए 4 या 5 मुख्तलिफ चीज़ें हैं। एक तो ये ख्याल रखिए कि बहुत सारे कोर्सेज ऐसे हैं, मैं 200 लेवल पे भी पढ़ाता हूँ, मैं मास्टर्स पे भी पढ़ाता हूँ, बहुत सारे ऐसे कोर्सेज हैं जो जर्नल डिपेंडेंट हैं, जिसमें अगर किताब हो भी तो एक आध चैप्टर होता है। कॉपीराइट लॉज जो हैं 1/10 या 1/6 मुझे सही याद नहीं, बट इतना अलाउ करते हैं कि आप 1 चैप्टर या 2 चैप्टर्स तक हर किताब से दे सकते हैं। अगर देना हो उसमें कोई इन्फ्रिंजमेंट किसी किस्म की नहीं होती, और जर्नल आर्टिकल्स में तो वैसे भी नहीं है, वो तमाम तो आप अपलोड कर सकते हैं, वो सबको अवेलेबल होंगे। मेरा फर्स्ट ईयर का कोर्स भी है जो मैं पहले ईयर माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ाता हूँ, वो भी जो है उसमें जो टेक्स्ट बुक है वो है ही ऑनलाइन। अब उसमें कोई मसला वैसे ही नहीं है, क्योंकि वो बनाई इसलिए गई है कि वो स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं ऑनलाइन रजिस्टर करके वो पढ़ लेते हैं। कुछ कोर्सेज ऐसे हैं जिनमें ऐसी चीज़ हो जाएगी। बहुत सारे कोर्सेज में एक टेक्स्ट बुक है ही नहीं, कई टेक्स्ट बुक्स हैं, कई किताबें हैं, उनके सेक्शंस चाहिए होंगे, वो आपको इंशाल्लाह मिल जाए। हाँ, जहाँ पूरे किताब की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, पूरी किताब चाहिए आपको उस कोर्स में, वहाँ ऑब्वियसली या किताब खरीदनी पड़ेगी, जिसके लिए या हम आपको बताएंगे कि कहाँ से लेनी है, कहाँ से मिल सकती हैं। और बहुत सारी ऐसी किताबें हैं जिनके लोकल एडिशन भी मौजूद हैं, जो बाज़ार से मिल रही हैं। अब तो माशाल्लाह बाज़ार खुल गए हैं, अल्लाह का शुक्र है कि वो पॉसिबल हो सकता है। वो मुमकिन होगा कि आप वहाँ से किताबें ले सकें। और ऑब्वियसली जहाँ जहाँ हम आपकी हेल्प कर सके उसमें, या सोर्सिंग में या किसी और चीज़ में, तो वो हमारी तरफ से भी वो हेल्प बिल्कुल मिलेगी, क्यों नहीं मिलेगी। मकसद तो यही है ना कि आप तक वो चीज़ें तमाम पहुँचनी चाहिए जो आपको चाहिए पढ़ने के लिए। अगर उसमें कोई रुकावट हो रही है तो वो आपके लिए नहीं, हमारे लिए भी रुकावट है, और वो दूर करेंगे ही करेंगे। इसलिए वो इंशाल्लाह फिक्र ना कीजिए, ये तमाम चीज़ें कोर्सेज में जैसे जैसे शुरू होंगे उसमें ये साथ साथ एड्रेस होती जाएंगी। मे बी आई कैन स्टॉप हियर। अगर कोई चीज़ रह गई है सलमान बता लें, नहीं तो फिर अगली दफ़ा I'll come back to it.
Sure. And thank you. No, I think that was a very comprehensive answer. I think you have raised a very important point, which leads me to the next question, that is about assessment, because you talked about stability, and then you linked that very nicely with asynchronous learning, which LUMS is trying to promote. That is that every instructor would offer you an opportunity that आपका जो course material है और जो lectures हैं वो आपके पास available हों. अगर if you can't attend a synchronous lecture, no problem, आप कभी भी उसके पास जा सकते हैं. So I'll ask this question from Sara, but then I'll also appreciate अगर Faryad and Dr. Arshad आप भी इसमें add कर सकें. That is on assessment. So Sara, there are a lot of concerns that regular assessment is very different in online settings. People talk about cheating, people talk about inappropriate tools for giving exams, the timing and internet connectivity. How LUMS is planning to address this very particular issue, which we call elephant in the room, and how students can respond to this.
Thank you, Suleman. I think सबसे पहले I'd like to put out the definition of assessments and why is it done. So I would like to revisit a very basic concept, because I think बहुत ज़्यादा anxious हैं, बहुत pressure है, तो they miss out the whole purpose of assessment. We assess because we want to know what have you learned, how much have you learned, and we also want you to use assessments, any assessment, to self-assess yourself कि आपने कितना learn किया या कहाँ आपके gaps हैं, you want to learn more. So when we go in an online setting, we just did not transfer the offline assessment tools online completely. We revisited the design, which means that you'll have smaller assessments, chunks would be broken apart. We would be assessing more frequently, but the weightage would go down. For STSP, if I talk specifically, so हमारा एक conventional project होता था 20% का, 25% का at the end of the term. We've now broken it up into 4 parts. So it's submission A, submission B, submission C, and D, which is of 4 to 5% each. After every submission, we will give you feedback. So you submit your work in group, you get assessment from your peers, and we give you assessment what we think how you fared, whether done well or is more work required. After that, you go in for submission B and then C and D. So by the time you reach the end point, you've had 4 feedback sessions with the faculty. You've done essentially the same thing, but more transparently and more easily, because in case you miss a submission point, we create makeup options also. It's easier to do it online than it is in a physical classroom. So when you approach assessments in an online setting or a class, trust me, we are not going to overburden you with high weightage assessment components. We are going to assess what we've taught you immediately. So it's easier for all of us to make sure where we are we on the same page or not? And if you miss out because of connectivity issues or any other reason that you could not attend the class, we will have makeup options, or offline assessments is also an option, which we're very actively looking into because we think it's only fair that you get to assess, and we also want to assess your learning. So I think apart from the grading pressure, if you look at it, your course outline should have all the tools that your faculty will use to assess you throughout the semester. It might not have dates, but it will have all the components. So I encourage all of you to read your course outlines, understand how you're going to be assessed and what are you going to be assessed against, and then have a very candid dialogue either with your TA or your instructor and try to understand how it would work out. So rest assured, these are thought through assessments, and you would not feel the pressure of dealing with a difficult tool per se every time. We've tried to make it very, very simple. At STSP, class participation is a huge deal. So we have 3 different methods of assessing class participation. One is, of course, in the live classes. जब आप class में participate करते हैं, you ask questions, you raise your hands, you get a chance to speak up. That's one. Offline, you have forums and live class discussions, which are pre-class and post-class both. So if in case you cannot make it to the class, participate on the forum and get your CP marked. Don't come to the class. You can see the recorded lecture afterwards. In case you've missed both the chance to actively participate in the forum as well as attend the class, post-class 12 hours, you have a window to actually see the lecture, complete your assignment and submit it, and you'll still be marked present and for the participation. So I think flexibility has been added from all directions. I would just encourage the students to take their time and understand how it's being structured. So I think the time would be wasted if they don't understand how they're being assessed and suddenly half the term is over. So do spend some time on your course outlines. That's pretty much
excellent. Sarah, thank you very much. Dr. Arshad, I'll come to you quickly for a quick comment that assessment is linked with grading. And students are always worried about grading. What LUMS has done in terms of the grading policy in the past or in this semester to address some of the concerns for students in terms of grading?
Okay, if you permit me, just another quick big picture comment here, and it links to a lot of the things that both Sarah and बारी साहब ने जो अभी बोला है. देखें, एक मसला जो होता है जब हम एग्जाम लिखते हैं, असाइनमेंट करते हैं, कोई प्रेशर्स जो आते हैं हमारे साथ, मसला ये इंसान का है, सिर्फ फ्रेशमैन का नहीं है, हर लोगों का मसला यही है, और उसको हम कहते हैं एक लफ्ज में प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन. ठीक है? Everybody in this world procrastinates, and students are no different. So what does that mean? It means that हम लोग ये कहते हैं कि इतनी सारी और चीजें करनी है, ये काम जरा बाद में कर लेंगे, जब जरूरी करना हो जब कर लेंगे. तो इससे होता ये है असेसमेंट में कि अगर आप हर चीज को बाद में पुश कर दें तो एकदम से बारिश होती है काम की, और फिर it becomes unmanageable, people get stressed and they have all kinds of issues. So when Bari Sahab said that you have to structure your time, this is really, really good advice. And what we are doing here is spreading those out so you don't get to push the big assessment components at the end. Now a student will look at the course outline. आप जब outline देखेंगे, आपको सबसे पहले आप क्या देखेंगे outline में? Assessment देखेंगे. क्यों? इसलिए वहीं से पता लगेगा कि कितना काम करना है मुझे, कितने असाइनमेंट्स हैं, कितने मिड टर्म्स हैं, एग्जाम्स हैं, प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, और मुख्तलिफ होंगे, हर कोर्स में अलग अलग होगा। ये नहीं कि कोई स्टैंडर्ड हमारे पास पॉलिसी है। तो अब जो पिछले महीनों में हमने कोई 100 लोगों से ज्यादा उनकी आउटलाइंस देखी हैं, तो हम आपको ये अश्योरेंस दे सकते हैं कि ये मुख्तलिफ असेसमेंट्स जो हैं, सारा वो सेइंग दे आर स्प्रेड आउट। But as Bari साहब जो कह रहे थे, there are going to be bumps on the road because you are working from home and because instructors are adapting to this new medium. So what we are doing, to answer your question now, is that when you get your grade from your teacher, then you may have gone through some really unfortunate connectivity issues, or something drastic may have happened, someone got sick in the family, या कोई ना कोई तो चीजें होती रहती हैं। लेकिन इस दौरान में जब पैंडेमिक है, so we want to be sensitive to those needs that you are going to experience, and we give you an option, and the option is pass fail. Now the pass fail option, we did it last semester, and what this means is that if you get your grade and you say मुझे तो गुंजाइश ही नहीं थी, मुझे काम का करने का मौका ही नहीं मिला because of such and such reasons, so you can exercise that option. We trust you will use it judiciously, because we don't want you to do pass fail in all of your courses. Otherwise your GPA, of course, is not going to result in any number. We want you to accept your grade as it truly reflects your learning. Either you've done excellent work, above average work, or below average work. And that's what the grades are going to indicate. And you will see this progression over time. That's the beauty of this new design of assessment, is you see how it unfolds. So at the end of the day, you can exercise that option for pass fail, but not for all courses. You will have limited choices. ये नहीं कि आपने पूरे 5 courses में pass fail का option exercise कर लिया। तो ये पॉलिसी अब आपको हम शेयर करेंगे कि कितने आप कर सकते हैं। लेकिन देखें, इसी की बात थी शुरू में, हम आपको फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी देने के लिए यहाँ मौजूद हैं। इसीलिए हम इस तरह की चीजें सोच रहे हैं कि आपकी ये जो चैलेंजेस होंगे, हम आपके साथ चैलेंजेस बर्दाश्त नहीं, बल्कि हेड ऑन उसको एम्ब्रेस करेंगे एंड ओवरकम करेंगे।
Thank you, Dr. Arshad. Dr. Faryad, before I come to you, I'll just quickly answer a couple of questions. कुछ बच्चों ने पूछा है कि we should not worry about books. I think if you keep in touch with your instructors, they're the best people who will tell you कि आपको कौन से resources चाहिए, कौन सी किताबें चाहिए, and they can have many arrangement with you internally within the course environment. और आप उनसे in touch रहें, and rest assured कि वो आपसे cooperate करेंगे। एक और बार सवाल ये आया है कि कोर्स एनरोलमेंट और आरओ का क्या रोल होगा। आरओ का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल है। आरओ आपसे पूरे के पूरे मैनुअल शेयर करेगा, वीडियो शेयर करेगा कि आपने ज़मील कैसे इस्तेमाल करनी है और उस पर एनरोल कैसे करना है। दिल बी कंप्लीट पाइपलाइन ऑफ एक्टिविटीज कमिंग अप, सो आरओ विल बी डूइंग अ सब्सटेंशियल अमाउंट ऑफ वर्क विद यू इन द कमिंग डेज। एक और आपने सवाल ये किया है कि जो ऑनलाइन कैंपस है is a collection of both curricular and extracurricular activities. And I assure you, अगर आप आने वाली emails देखेंगे, आपको पता चलेगा कि LUMS का जितना भी extracurricular activities हैं, जो different societies हैं, वो अपने events वैसे ही plan कर रही हैं. I give you my personal example. I am also a patron of one society. Index is a design and innovation society. हमने freshman year के लिए पूरे का पूरे competition plan किया है। हमने कहा ये है कि हम आपको कैसे पेंडेमिक के अंदर लम्स को रीडिजाइन आप कैसे कर सकते हैं। सो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अ लम्स यू वुड लाइक टू सी फॉर नेक्स्ट टाइम, यू नो, इफ देयर इज अ पेंडेमिक, हाउ वुड यू लाइक लम्स टू रिस्पॉन्ड टू दैट। हमने उसके इर्द गिर्द पूरा कंपटीशन डिजाइन किया जहाँ पे आप पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे, आपकी क्रिएटिविटी नजर आएगी। कुछ इस तरह म्यूजिक सोसाइटी ऑनलाइन गिग्स पे काम कर रही है, ड्रामा सोसाइटी काम कर रही है, इनोवेशन सोसाइटी काम कर रही है, एंटरप्रेन्योरियल सोसाइटी काम कर रही है। तो इट्स नॉट कि हम सिर्फ ये कह रहे हैं कि आपसे पढ़ें, हम कह रहे हैं कि आपका जो कैंपस का होलिस्टिक एक्सपीरियंस है वो ऑनलाइन भी रिफ्लेक्ट होगा, एंड यू विल सी दैट दीज थिंग्स हैपनिंग इन द कमिंग डेज। So that's why we just want to make sure that it's just not about काम, but उसके साथ थोड़ा बहुत आराम भी और थोड़ा बहुत खेल कूद भी. So it's a combination. Dr. Faryad, coming to you, I have two very specific questions, and they have also been asked again and again in the chat. The question is about labs, but before that, would you like to comment on some of the decisions SSC has specifically taken on assessment side? Any specific things we have thought about in SSC that how our assessment should be changed? You please answer that. And then, you know, my next question would be from you, how School of Science and Engineering is planning to conduct the labs. Many students are saying there will be no labs in fall. if there are no labs in fall, would it impact overall learning of students or not?
Thank you very much, Suleman. So coming to your first question about assessment. So I would, like to assure students that university has been putting a lot of efforts over the last 3-4 months in thinking about policies and recommendations to sensitize our faculty members about the changes in assessments that are needed to cater to students' needs, especially the internet connectivity and those issues. So that's why students will see that every course will have a combination and a mixture of synchronous and asynchronous assessments. And a lot of the assessments will be done under the honor code, where students will be given offline assessments. And part of the assessments, as Sarah also said, that is going to be distributed over smaller components with smaller weights over the whole semester than into larger assessment component. So, and also there would be policies in place to cater to those students who might, lose connectivity on a particular day, or they don't have stable connectivity to participate in synchronous settings. And in addition to this, students should also expect in this online forum more individualized assessments as compared to when they are on campus. For example, there might be individual presentations. They might have to record a presentation individually on a topic and then send it to their instructors. Or there may be individual problems. For example, in SSC, in applied science and engineering, there could be longer project or problem that they have to individually solve. So students can expect more individualized assessments in this course than what is usually the practice while they're on campus. So in terms of assessments, the faculty is sensitized, and there would definitely be policies in place that no student is going to be left behind because of the connectivity issue. That is our promise to our students. And in the same vein, I would just like to add to what Arshad was saying about flexibility in grading. So in addition to the fail and pass policy, I would just like to inform students that LUMS is in the process of making the incomplete grade policy more flexible. So for example, if because of sickness in family or other issues, because of connectivity, or maybe students is not able to cope with their coursework, so they can request extra time after the end of the semester, maybe 4 weeks, or in some cases up to 12 weeks, to make up for the lost curriculum and earn a letter grade if they don't want to go to fail and pass route. So details of that policy will also be communicated to students hopefully very soon. So with these things in place, I think we have a very robust mechanism in place to cater to these things. Now coming to what we have been doing at SSC specifically. So I totally agree with a lot of concerns that have been raised by students even in this chat today, or before this in private communication about the laboratory works. So what we have done for this freshman year, that we have restructured the SSC program, and we have shifted all the laboratory works in required for physics, chemistry, and biology to the spring semester. And even there's going to be no laboratory course from electrical engineering department. Only a small pilot section will be offered to assess the feasibility of offering engineering laboratory courses over online settings. Other than that, a small section of 60 students, all experimental laboratory courses have been shifted to spring. So students don't have to worry about how about the quality of the work. So they will get a chance to do all of their laboratory work hopefully in spring while on campus. The only laboratory work that will still continue is the related to programming from computer science department and from the electrical engineering department. So that programming courses are going to have a more number of faculty members and teaching assistants assigned to those courses, so that students can interact and make up for the lost time and interaction among themselves while they're on campus. So we have thought through about all of these issues, and hopefully students will have a very good experience of learning at SSC.
Thank you, Faryad, for this answer, and this also reflects almost every experiential learning activity we have at LUMS. A lot of students have also asked about attendance policy. And as Sarah also mentioned briefly, and Barisab also mentioned that we are very flexible in our attendance policy, and all faculty members know that the standard attendance policy is not going to be implied. And also for the class participation, we know because of our workshops, many faculty members have distributed and you are using multiple options for class participation. For example, you can register your class participation in an online synchronous session, or you can send an email or comment on in a Facebook page or using WhatsApp. So you can take many different ways to reply and then register your class participation, because it doesn't have to be done in a synchronous fashion. So that's a very important point I like to raise. Moving on, I like to add this question to all our panelists, and that is that when we talk about complete LUMS experience, and when we talk about that how faculty would support students in their daily activities, one thing which comes very handy and important is office hours and one-to-one interaction with our faculty members. This happens very easily in the case of physical meetups, but what LUMS is doing, what your respective schools are doing, what the communication is for instructors, how to manage these office hours in online setting. I'll begin with you, Bari Saab, and then quickly everyone can answer. That would be great on the behalf of your schools and disciplines. And also Dr. Arshad, you in general as a LUMS level philosophy.
थैंक यू सुलेमान। लेकिन जिस दिन से ये कोविड शुरू हुआ है उसके बाद से बहुत ज़्यादा फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी फैकल्टी रियलाइजिंग के क्या हो रहा था उन्होंने ऐड की है। हमारे तकरीबन जितने कोर्सेज चल रहे थे उस वक्त उनमें फैकल्टी ने व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स बना लिए, उन्होंने कईयों ने फेसबुक पे ग्रुप्स बनाए, कईयों ने अपना टेलीफोन नंबर दे दिया और ऑफिस आवर्स भी सेट कर लिए कि जिस वक्त आप डेडिकेटेड टाइम भी ले सकते हैं और अगर आप मैसेज करें तो कोई टाइम सेट भी किया जा सकता है जिसके लिए जिसमें आपसे वो मिल सकें। आई मीन एज मैं जो हूँ वो व्हाट्सएप पे भी टाइम देता था, फ़ोन पे भी बात करता था, जूम वगैरह पे भी मीटिंग्स कर रहा था, कंप्यूटर पे ईमेल्स पे भी रिस्पॉन्ड करता था। सो इन अ वे ऑनलाइन लर्निंग इज़ अ लॉट मोर इंटरैक्टिव and takes a lot more out of the faculty in that sense, and they realize के students को बहुत ज़्यादा मसाइल होते हैं जिनमें वो they want to reach out। हाँ, सिर्फ इतना ज़रूर है कि सारी चीज़ें emergent नहीं होती, so हो सकता है थोड़ा सा टाइम रिस्पॉन्स में कई दफ़ा लग जाए कि रात अगर 12 बजे आपने ईमेल की है तो 12:05 तक जवाब ना आए, वो थोड़ा सा हौसला ज़रूर चाहिए होता है। लेकिन other than that, instructors have come up any mode of communication तकरीबन जो है वो इस्तेमाल किया गया है। पर्सनली फ़ोन पे मसलन हमारे कुछ स्टूडेंट्स जो थे वो नॉर्दर्न एरियाज़ में थे जहाँ पे इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी नहीं ज़्यादा इतनी अच्छी नहीं थी ये सिंक्रोनस के लिए, तो बहुत लंबी फ़ोन कॉल्स मैं उन्हें करता था जिसमें हम वी वुड गो ओवर अ लॉट ऑफ द आइडियाज़ एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ। सो इसलिए वो इतना इशू नहीं होगा। आई एम प्रिटी श्योर ऑल फैकल्टी मेंबर्स आर गोइंग टू वेरी एक्सप्लिसिटली सजेस्ट कि आप किस तरह से उनसे इन टच हो सकते हैं। दूसरी में एक छोटी सी और बात है, यूनिवर्सिटी एज अ पॉलिसी दिस टाइम हैज सेड कि हम टीएज वगैरह भी बढ़ा रहे हैं क्योंकि हम इंटरैक्शन ज़्यादा करना चाहते हैं। सो आपको टीए सपोर्ट भी ज़्यादा मिलेगी अपनी क्लासेस में, ताकि आप अगर फैकल्टी टाइम अगर बहुत बड़ी क्लासेस हैं या बहुत ज़्यादा सेक्शंस पढ़ाए जा रहे हैं तो फिर आप टीएस के साथ छोटे ग्रुप्स में भी और फिर इंडिविजुअली भी टीएस के साथ आप काम कर सकें। सो आई थिंक सपोर्ट का इंशाल्लाह इतना इशू नहीं होगा।
And before Sarah, I come to you, I'll just like to add, आप लोगों ने सवाल ये भी पूछा है चैट के अंदर कि आपको टीएस का कब पता चलेगा। So in the first week, normally almost all instructors would introduce you to your TS. So usually they call them in the first lecture or they share the email addresses. Sometimes you can also find in course outlines, but just wait for the first week and you will get to know your TS. Sarah and then Faryad.
Thank you, Suleman. I think everything that Dr. Faisal Bari has said is relevant. I think it hasn't decreased. The opportunity to interact has only increased. My only word of caution is going to be this adds to the clutter or the noise in communication also. So you need to be very wise in so that you don't miss out on important notifications or announcements. see or ask your instructor what's their best or preferred method of communication, and also align yourself to communicate on those 1 or 2 channels that both of you or all of the class prefers, because that way you don't miss out on anything important. Otherwise, I see there's no reason for you not to reach out to us or the TAs. You'll have peer-to-peer communication also if you miss out on some announcements, but we're also very, very easily available. So it should not be an issue. Trust me, that's the least of the worries right now, that how do you contact us or reach out to us. We've made ample opportunities for that to happen.
Excellent point, Sarah, on picking the channel. That's very important. Find out the most optimal channel and then use that. Faryad, anything you'd like to add on this, if any?
Yes, thank you. I would actually like to share my experience of office hours through online settings. But I think that office hours actually have improved in an online setting. So what I and several of my colleagues did in the last semester when we went online, that we had one, let's say, Zoom meeting as an office hour for 1 hour. So what would happen that any student who has a question, they will just click on the link and join the meeting. They will ask the question and we will answer. So we have provided graphics tablets to the faculty. If there's a problem to solve or figure to discuss, they will do so. The students will, get to interact live. But more than that, what can happen that even if there are like 30, 40 students in the class, and there are some shy students who may not, want to ask questions always. So they are just logged in and they are listening to all the questions and answers that are happening between any students of the class. So students are randomly coming in, they're asking their questions, and anybody, even the people who are not asking, they're also learning because they're just, standing by in the meeting. So I'm sure interaction with faculty and office hours and question answer, they're going to be, handled very efficiently and perhaps a much better way than it would happen at the online setting. So students shouldn't have any concerns regarding that.
Dr. Arshad, and of course, please add in. And also, it would be great that you can talk about what will happen if students don't listen or hear back from faculty members. There might be exceptions here and there that they're talking to the TAs and TAs not replying. They're talking to faculty members and they're not replying. What LUMS is doing, what is the official channel, and who is listening to them? You as the highest, in the management, maybe can give them some insights that who is listening to this issue.
So I won't repeat what has already been covered in terms of how interactions, contact, and some cautions about clutter that Sarah mentioned is really important. So we know, what the priorities are and how time will be spent in attending to the various demands on students. Universities have many support structures, and what we do is try and bring out those support structures when you come to campus in an obvious way, through interactions, through many events we have, and through a socialization process. Now that is not happening, at least for the moment this semester. But that does not mean that those centers have disappeared or that you cannot access them. You still can. But the onus is a little bit more on the students to explore and find out what these services and centers are. Let me give you some examples. Then there are some questions that on the chat box as well about, how do I figure out my courses? A lot of questions around enrollment. We actually have an office for academic advising now for the first time. And this is a centralized service. Although every school has academic advising, we also now have a centralized service. So this is a very important role that, our center director is available for you, right? Secondly, we have Office of Student Affairs. Now everybody knows OSA, and you've already been acquainted with the OSA, but there are other complementary centers so that they are not overburdened with the many demands that they get on day-to-day in liaising with over 45 student societies. We have the Office of Accommodation and Equity. We have the Office of ये जो आप lead कर रहे हैं, a Learning Institute. We have the Center for Continuing Education, but more specifically for students, we have counseling and services. And we have to, at this point in time, acquaint ourselves with the etiquette that is required when you are learning online, on the one hand, and your transition to campus, which will happen sooner than later. At some point in time, we will all be together. But right now, what we are doing is socializing on the internet, through the internet, with the website, which lists all of these centers, which provides all of the email contact information, which provides all of the phone numbers, helplines. There are 6 or 7 helplines that are available, but you have to go to the website and explore these. And there are people who are going to respond to you. If they are not responding to you, you can write to every single director directly. You don't have to go through any bureaucracy here. You can contact Suleman Saab. You can contact any one of the panelists here will respond to you. I will respond to you. We are there to support your learning. Now, if you're going to talk about types of needs that you have that are better answered, by the Office of Student Affairs or Counseling or Health or all the other centers we have. I mean, we have 19 centers, by the way. So I'm not making the full list for you, but I'm encouraging you to explore them. If you are asking a question to a person who cannot help you, it doesn't mean help doesn't exist. It means you have to keep exploring. तो ये onus आप पर है ज़रूर कि आप explore करें और ये याद रखें कि देखें when we are working online, emails, tweets, WhatsApp groups, Facebook pages, all of these different forums have different etiquettes. यानी उनका मिजाज लिहाज अलग होता है. आप जिस तरह बात करेंगे जो आपका your behaviors are reflected in the language that you use. It's very important not to get too frustrated or angry or use language that actually becomes offensive or is taken in the negative way, because we are all there to help each other out. Nobody's there to try and show that they are better than you. So I guess at the end of the day, the last thing I'll say here, Suleman, and to all of the students here, your most important allies are going to be your peers, actually. And your peers means कि आप जो क्लास में जाएंगे या आपके कोई जानने वाले हैं आप जिनको ट्रस्ट करते हैं, जिनसे आपकी कोई रिलेशनशिप है पहली वाली या बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, आप जरूर करें. आप ये सोचें कि आपकी जिंदगी में कम से कम 2-3 लोग तो होंगे इस सेमेस्टर में जो आपके साथ आगे चलेंगे, हर कदम आपके साथ रहेंगे वो. So this is the kind of peer relationship we encourage. We want you to actively seek, and because you make friends for life when you join an institution like LUMS, and they are going to be helping you as you are going to be helping them. The saying "what goes around comes around" really is put into practice and put to the test here, where peer learning is not just about getting grades in a group. Peer learning is about trying to support others and lift them up. Because when they get lifted up, they will lift you up. You will find the magic of helping others is the most powerful lesson we can all learn in this online space. तो बहुत opportunities हैं. जो लोग छुपे कोने में काम करते थे या बात करने में shy थे या class participation में they couldn't ask questions, they can ask questions online. They can ask questions in these different channels that everyone has mentioned. So don't forget, please, that make friends, work with your friends, work with your peers, and be selective, just like we all are. Who are you going to trust? And believe me, there are going to be more choices and more of these opportunities at LUMS than you will find in any of your previous experiences.
Excellent, Dr. Arshad. Thank you very much for this very kind note. I'll quickly answer a couple of questions and then I move to the last part. पहला जो एक सवाल पूछा गया है कि हमें how do we access the online lectures. So LUMS has a complete learning management system. उसको हम LMS कहते हैं. And there will be a complete demo of that, and you'll be exposed to this in every course. And LMS के ऊपर you'll be able to find links of all the lectures जो कि आपके पढ़े हुए हैं. For example, I give you my example. I teach a course I almost always teach a course in a synchronous way, जिस तरह मैं अभी आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ. इसको मैं करता ये हूँ, जिस तरह अभी आप देख रहे हैं Zoom की रिकॉर्डिंग चल रही है, वैसे रिकॉर्डिंग भी चल रही होती है. लेकिन मैं करता ये हूँ कि मैं अपने लेक्चर्स को ऑनलाइन सेटिंग्स में 3 से 4 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड कर देता हूँ. 15 मिनट का लेक्चर पढ़ाया, उसके बाद छोटी सी 2 मिनट की ब्रेक की, सवाल जवाब किए, फिर 15 मिनट, और उसके बाद मैं करता ये हूँ कि मैं अपने लेक्चर को ऑनलाइन यूट्यूब पे डाल देता हूँ. ठीक है, उसका लिंक जो है मैं LMS में शेयर कर देता हूँ. और आपके पास ये आपको मौका मिल जाता है कि आप उस लेक्चर को जाके अपनी मर्जी के मुताबिक जब चाहें प्ले कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, उसके इर्द गिर्द, उस लेक्चर के इर्द गिर्द जो रीडिंग नोट्स होते हैं आपको वही मिल जाते हैं, उसके इर्द गिर्द कोई क्विज आएगा आपको वो भी मिल जाता है. और हमारे बहुत से इंस्ट्रक्टर्स, इफ नॉट ऑल, majority would be using this technique. They'll be teaching synchronously, but they'll be putting everything online. So ये आप बिल्कुल इसके बारे में बिल्कुल परेशान ना हो. आपको बड़ा अच्छा एक LMS मिल जाएगा, उसमें ब्लॉगिंग कर सकते हैं, आपका पूरे का पूरा रिपोजिटरी बनी होगी, और TAs आपके पास हर वक्त मौजूद होंगे. अगर आप किसी भी ऐसे कोर्स में हैं जिसमें 30-40 से ज़्यादा बच्चे हैं, और जो कि अक्सर कोर्सेज में होते हैं, you will have a TA to support you in that. So don't really worry about it. और इसके अलावा अब बार बार लोग बात कर रहे हैं, एंड दैट्स माय लास्ट कमेंट, कि हमें बहुत एंजाइटी होती है ऑनलाइन टीचिंग के दौरान. आई थिंक एवरीबडी कैन रिफ्लेक्ट ऑन दैट. हमें पढ़ाने में भी उतनी एंजाइटी होती थी जितनी आपको पढ़ने में होती थी. जब हमने फर्स्ट टाइम पढ़ाना शुरू किया तो हमें लगता था कि यार मैं वो बंदा हूँ जो कि क्लास में घूम के पढ़ाता है, जिसकी एप्पल वॉच पहनता है, तो जब वो क्लास खत्म करते तो 3000 फुट स्टेप्स आए होते हैं. अब उस बंदे ने इस तरह जम के सामने बैठ के पढ़ाना है, तो हमारे लिए भी एंजाइटी है. थी, लेकिन हमने सीखा, हमने आप लोगों की मदद से सीखा. सो व्हेन यू रिस्पॉन्ड टू अस इन एन ऑनलाइन लेक्चर, व्हेन आई आस्क अ क्वेश्चन एंड देन यू रिप्लाई बैक टू मी इन अ फॉर्म ऑफ अ चैट, this makes our life, this makes our lecture fun, interesting, interactive, and really exciting. So I think this is really the way we work with each other. You support us, we support you, and in this way hum dono ki anxiety kam hogi, and we'll be a partner in this whole exercise. And we use this term frequently, LUMS, कि हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स आ रहे हैं वो हमारे स्टूडेंट्स नहीं, हमारे पार्टनर्स हैं, हमने मिलकर कोर्स को डिजाइन करना है. सो वी आर वेरी फ्लेक्सिबल, एंड बिलीव अस, मेनी ऑफ अस आर वेरी फ्लेक्सिबल. यू कैन रिकॉर्ड दिस सेशन, यू कैन इसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले लें, इसको अपने पास सेव कर लें, हमारा ईमेल एड्रेस लिख लें, और आप विल अश्योर यू कि यू विल हियर बैक फ्रॉम अस. मतलब वी आर नॉट सेइंग इट फॉर द sake of saying it, we really mean it, and we think that you need our support, but in return we think every faculty member also need your support, and only with this partnership we'll be able to move forward. So that's very important. Lastly, we have requested all panelists कि आप कम से कम 2 practical advices share कर सकें कि हमने इस online semester में हमारे बच्चों ने कैसे navigate करना है. You can wear the hat of a faculty member, or you can wear a hat of a student or a partner, whatever you like it, but do share some concrete advice कि अगर आप ये 2 काम करेंगे तो आपके ख्याल में बच्चे can navigate very well in the online semester. Starting with you, Bari Saab, and then we'll move forward and then finish with Arshad Saab.
मेरा तो ख्याल है 2 चीज़ें मैं ये कहूँगा. पहली चीज़ कि आप क्लास के साथ रहिएगा. आपने जो क्लास शुरू करनी है, ये ना कीजिएगा जो पहले भी बात हुई कि मैं आखिरी रात, आखिरी हफ्ते, आखिरी वक्त में जाके कर लूँगा. वो बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ें जमा हो जाती हैं, बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है और समझने का टाइम नहीं मिलता. असल चीज़ तालीम में ये है कि आपने वक्त गुजारना है उस मटेरियल के साथ, उसको इंटरनलाइज करना है, डीपन करना है अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग. तो वो साथ क्लास के चलिए, ताकि उसी वक्त आप सवाल और जवाब कर सकें, उसी वक्त समझ सकें, और फिर 1-2 रिविजन्स होंगी क्विज के लिए, इम्तिहान के लिए, फलाना, ताकि वो अच्छी तरह इंटरनलाइज हो सके. सो वो जो अर्शद साहब ने भी प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन की बात की थी, किसी तरह उसको डिफाई करके क्लास के साथ बिल्कुल रहिए. एक चीज़. दूसरी चीज़ मैं ये कहूँगा कि होम एनवायरनमेंट मैनेजमेंट मेरे ख्याल में इस ऑनलाइन मोड में बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है. उसकी आपने स्पेस क्रिएट करनी है, वो आपने घर वालों से बात करनी, जगह बनानी, जो भी जिस तरह भी करना है, वो चंक्स ऑफ कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड टाइम, वो खामोशी, वो जो भी, यानी जिस तरह भी आप बेहतर काम करते हैं, वो चीज़ आपने घर पे मैनेज करनी है. उसके बगैर आप भी फ्रस्ट्रेट होंगे, घर वाले भी, और मुश्किल भी होगी आपको चीज़ें समझने और लर्निंग करने में. थैंक यू.
Excellent. Sarah, to you, please.
Thank you. Guys, I am going to tell you what is applicable to me as an online learner. And trust me, last 4 months, I've literally spent 8 to 10 hours, if not more, online doing multiple stuff. So as an online learner to another online learner, I am going to tell you two things to keep in mind. First and foremost is spaced repetition, taking breaks. It is extremely important that you take breaks. Tell your faculty, put up a sign, take a 2-minute break, get up, stretch. If you're studying or asynchronously watching something, 25 minutes के बाद अपना timer लगाएं, एक उठ के पानी पिएं, चक्कर लगा के आएं. Make sure you're actively doing this. Do not go at it for 4 hours or 5 hours at a stretch. That's going to exhaust you and it's not going to help you. So spaced repetitions and take breaks. Second, I think we all need to start taking fun more seriously. No matter what you do, you need to enjoy it. Modern learning science believes that positive emotions are very important for increasing your capability to learn. So why not? The more resistance we'll put up, the more we'll have trouble. So I think just make sure that you're enjoying or having a good laugh even after a difficult challenge that maybe you didn't do too well on. So I just say take it lightly and you'll get there eventually, inshallah. Thank you, Suleman.
I think, Sarah, you have made an excellent point. Accept it. You know,
I did.
बड़ा जोक फेमस है ना कि आप जंगल में जाएं और आगे से शेर आ जाए तो आप क्या करेंगे? और फिर लोग कहते हैं जो करेगा वही करेगा, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? You know, so the line is out. You know, the line is out. It is in front of you. But I think it's a different kind of a line, and I think we can very nicely navigate. It's not really an issue as long as we're willing to accept it. So very, very important point by Sarah. Dr. Faryad, to you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Suleman. So I have two, points. The first is about logistical. It concerns the decision the student is going to make just in this week, and that is regarding the number of courses that they would be taking. So my strong suggestion to all students is take only those number of courses that you think that you can manage. And I would actually even go further. If you think you can manage 5 courses easily over the semester, take only 4. Online learning is very exhaustive and you will be required to do a lot of work. It's not going to be a walk in a park when you would be learning that, okay, it's just an online course, you watch some videos and that's it. So it's going to be a lot of work. You will have to be working in a home where you will be distracted and you might have to shoulder some of the work at home. So please make a decision, and the decision is now easier in LUMS because the fees also proportional to number of courses. So take only those courses that you can think that you can easily manage throughout the semester. So this is very important, and actually this is based on a survey that we conducted of students after the end of the last semester. Those students who had a higher number of courses, they were the one who faced the most number of problems and complaints. So this is a very important decision that you have made. So don't just enroll in courses that thinking that it's not going to be a lot of work. Number one. Number two is regarding synchronous and asynchronous. You will see that in most of the courses, faculty has designed synchronous sessions where there will be a live interaction with students and teaching and learning going on. And we have recommended, and most people would be following, that they would be recording it and putting it online. Don't make a mistake of relegating those sessions to the night, that okay, let that session happen and I will just watch the recording. Cycle of accumulating a lot of work that you have to do, and then also your learning would be slowed down. So if in any course there are live sessions that are going to be happening, never miss them, even if you are going to see the recordings later as well. So I think with these two suggestions, you can manage through the semester very easily.
Okay, thank you very much. Last 2 minutes, and I think we can certainly finish with Dr. Arshad, your remarks in general about bringing ease, reducing anxiety, and maybe your one of your favorite remarks, which I love hearing more again and again, and that is that online learning is not a second-class learning. So I think would love to hear that again, so that students know that we take it very seriously.
Well, I've just learned so much from my colleagues. I made a list here in case you haven't, have you forgotten the wise words of wisdoms from everyone here, the 2 takeaways that you may use for your own benefit. One thing I'll say that hasn't been said is, and I think Sarah mentioned it slightly, is you've got to take care of your health first. Health comes before learning. That's the only thing that comes before learning. You know, learning ki koi kami nahi hoti hai. If there's one thing you can do in excess, that is to learn. इसमें कोई शक नहीं है. लेकिन इससे पहले अपनी सेहत का पहले ख्याल रखें. अगर आपकी सेहत ठीक नहीं होगी, या if you get burned out too quickly, or you're not taking breaks, or you're not looking after yourself, and of course you're living in a family where you have other obligations and you'll be looking after others too. This is the first responsibility we have, you know, as people, as humans. So let's be human about this whole thing. We are online doesn't mean that we are disconnected as human beings. We are, in fact, even more connected than ever before. So let's bring humanity back into this as well, in terms of thinking about others, उनकी सेहत और अपनी सेहत. तो ये पहली बात है. इसका अब जिस तरह खा रहे हैं, पी रहे हैं, अगर आप, you know, if you have a good night's sleep, believe me, that makes a world of a difference in your entire day. If you sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning and then you have to get up at a class at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be sleeping through that class and not being able to concentrate. And those cells in your head are not going to be activating, you know, as they should. So take care of that health. Dekhiye, dusri last thing, and we may go over time by a minute, so permit me, Suleman Saab, to just finish on this note. That, look, this is not a race. We are not all joining some race where we have to go from one point to another. Everyone begins at a different point. Some people bring more to the tables. For some courses, other people bring other things to the table. We are all individuals that are unique. And as unique individuals who come together to learn, whether it is offline or online, you know, we are not just trying to reach one level. Everyone will go at different development trajectories. Everyone will arrive in different points. They will have different milestones. So what this means, iska sabak ye hai, mere liye at least, कि अगर आप रास्ते में धक्का लग जाए आपको, आप गिर जाएं, you make a mistake, you fail a course. My friends, I will admit publicly to everyone that the course that my father wanted me to succeed most in, which is accounting, the first course I took, I failed it. And I ended up getting a professional accounting degree, but my first course was a failure. And you can't imagine what that did to me. I was devastated, you know, कि अब ये मेरी ज़िंदगी ख़त्म हो गई है, कितनी मुझे, what shame do I bring to my parents by failing a course in a prestigious school that I was in? But that's not the point. In hindsight, I learned the most from that failure. Now, this is not because I wanted to fail. It's because I didn't prepare enough, or I didn't have a calculator at the exam. I did foolish things. सबके साथ होता है ये, आपके साथ भी होगा. आप फिक्र नहीं करें. आप फिक्र नहीं करें. आपको ऊपर नीचे, this is the whole journey is about ups and downs. It's about climbing mountains. It's also about looking at others and wishing them well and supporting them for their success. Their success will be your success. So it's a journey, and we are in it together. And it's going to be a journey where online is going to open up doors for you, because, by the way, the entire world right now is functioning online. You're not the only ones. So don't make this thing कि oh मुझे पता नहीं किधर फंसा दिया इन लोगों ने. हम सब साथ इस journey में जा रहे हैं. This is to Suleman's point. Let's embrace it, because remember this: when you come back, and you will come back to campus, I can guarantee you that when you come back, you will have something that no other cohort has ever had. You will have acquired skills. You will acquire skills that companies are looking for, organizations are looking for. This is extremely important for your own personal development, for you to serve others in society, and for you to play the kind of leadership roles that, you know, we are trying to prepare you for. So, inshallah, आपकी कामयाबी के साथ साथ हम हर कदम रखेंगे. और आपको शुक्रिया. Suleman, आपका बहुत शुक्रिया. Colleagues, thank you very much for a very, very nice session today.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your time, for attending it. And I think that's the best way to end, with the hope and telling you that it's perfectly fine to fail. We can all share our stories of failure and how did we come up out of it. So I think, you know, stay with us, and I would say trust us, you know, really trust us. We have really thought about it. We have spent so much time on it, and we're doing our best. Trust us, inshallah. We'll see you again on campus. We'll be together again on campus. But before that, we'll see you online and we'll support you. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much, panelists. It was great having you all. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz. Bye.